Hello, good afternoon. I'm Raleigh Brown. This is another curve flattening concert. I didn't even pull up my list here to see what number it is. Let's see if we can get that. And right about there, it's not in the right order. Number 512. And folks are starting to file in. I see Stephen DeHaas was first man in over there on YouTube. And Rhonda Scott Merrick and Warren and Janelle. And I can clink you. I had a how can I say, a brewing accident. I didn't realize I thought I had turned on the kettle. So I poured about half of the water into the AeroPress before I realized this is cold water and I don't have time to do a cold press. So I put the rest in as hot water and then I microwaved it. And it still seems to taste good. So I clink you all. A special extra well-meaning clink to Deborah Leiby Clark, who had knee surgery yesterday, and she's already home from the hospital, I believe. Aren't you, Deb? And we are hoping that knee will be a really good one, a good Tai Chi knee. In the name of good coffee and good fellowship and all those other goods. So I see Warren and Janelle, Deborah Leiby Clark, Carol Pratt, Sharon March. I haven't seen you in a while, Sharon. Mike Verbeck, and Deb Leiby Clark is home on Oxy. Okay, well, if you have a good excuse to take drugs, then go for it, baby. So I'm using the Prue for at least the first song today. I think I might switch over. David Arthur Radcliffe is here, and S.A. Tudhope, and Dave Mason, and Jay Peterson in Maine, Johnson Hogg over there in France. And I've been really enjoying this new Eastman guitar, but somehow I can't play this next tune without playing it on Mario's guitar because it's about Mario. So I'll play this first song for you. Let's see how we're doing here. We've got to have a few people here. It's a cold day in North Ontario, and the snow plows are falling way behind. But in the warm workshop the wood stove glows, and George Jones sings the foibles of mankind. A fluffy dog is flopped out on a chair, and an old guitar sits on a tabletop. The smell of pine and spruce is in the air, and the bandsaw hums in Mario's workshop. Make a wish upon a star, he may build a new guitar. Hands and hearts, time and grace, magic happens in this place. Exotic woods have been set apart, and the sun shines on them in the afternoon. Each set may soon become a work of art, like a butterfly comes out of a cocoon. There's sawdust lying on the workshop floor, and a side gets bent into a graceful curve. The braces are a part you can't ignore. The careful chisel needs a steady nerve. Make a wish upon a star, he may build a new guitar. Hands and hearts, time and grace, magic happens in this place. ebony, they produce a symphony. Hands and heart, time and grace, magic happens in this place. A new guitar on the tabletop, another day in Mario's workshop. So that's my little ode to my buddy Mario Prue, who built this lovely guitar. But I think I'm gonna put this down for now and use another guitar. So this is the Eastman OM. OM, for those who don't know, stands for orchestra model. And this used to be, back in the 30s, 1930s, this was the biggest guitar you could get. This was like a big jumbo guitar until Martin invented the Dreadnought. And the Dreadnought was even bigger and square-shouldered. It's what a lot of you may think of when you think of acoustic guitar, because you saw Joni Mitchell or Crosby, Stills and Nash, and they all used to play Dreadnoughts before they got old and their shoulders started hurting and they needed a smaller guitar. So, I think I'm going to do the instrumental next. So today I'm doing all originals. If you didn't see the teaser, I mentioned that. And so these orchestra models, the Dreadnoughts were really loud and very bass heavy, and they were braced to have real strong bass response. At the time they were invented, there wasn't a lot of really good sound reproduction in guitars. They hadn't started using most of the kinds of pickups that are used now, and the guitar was principally a rhythm instrument in acoustic music. There weren't a lot of lead players. We talked the other day about how Doc Watson was one of the first guys to play fiddle tunes on the guitar instead of just playing rhythm for fiddle players. And that was in the 50s and 60s. So early on, the Dreadnought ruled because it was big and loud. And then with the advent of better sound systems, the smaller bodied guitars, which are much more nicely, often, not always, but often are much more nicely balanced between treble and bass. So you have these, a lot of times in Dreadnoughts, that's a little bit tinnier, and the bass may be a little more resonant, but also may not be as sharply defined. So for fingerpicking guitarists during the 60s and 70s, a lot of times they went to these triple O or OM guitars. This guitar, technically, it's called an orchestra model, but it's actually a triple O. And the difference between the two in these 14 fret versions, there's 12 frets too, and that's a different story. But the difference between a triple O 14 fret guitar and an OM is just the length of the strings. The body looks identical, it's the same thing. So like my Martin that looked just like this is a true OM. It had a 25.4-inch scale length. And this is actually, they call it an OM, but it's actually a triple O because it has a shorter 24.9-inch scale length, which makes it a little, maybe not quite as loud, but also a little warmer, perhaps, So, and easier to play. That's the big thing. So I'm going to back up here and see, I think I missed a bunch of people. We had Jay and Dave and Johnson. Philip Tanswell over there in the UK. Welcome, Philip, on YouTube. And Charlie Bryant is here, and Lori Payne. And Jim Moran, my buddy from down in Nashville. And who oddly lived in Cleveland, but not when I lived in Cleveland. And now he lives in Nashville. which is where I met him. I met him actually at Swannanoa Gathering in Asheville, North Carolina. But I visited him in Nashville, and he put me up for a night while I was waiting to adopt Suki. He got me ready because he had like 6 dogs, including Shelby, the little wire terrier who was the cutest dog in the history of the world. And Debbie Moore is here, and Connie Adams, and Betsy McIntyre over there, Grandma Betsy over there in South Northeast Ohio, and Mike Verbeek in Pittsburgh. And obviously, Mike Verbeek and Jim Moran knew each other from baseball. I do not know how that works, but since Mike is from Pittsburgh and Jim is from Nashville, but I think they must have met in Cleveland. And Peggy Burnett Roberts is here. Peggy, I hope you're hanging in there okay. I know you're not in the greatest health. And S.A. Tudhope and Susan Douglas and Debbie Daniels. Good to see you guys here. So let me get back to work. So this is my little ode to Suki the dog, one of several odes to Suki the dog. And this one is called The Dark Princess. The Dark Princess, a little song about Suki the cattle dog, fondly remembered always. And Eric Eugene Cole is here. Hi, bud. He's over there on YouTube. And I think I said hi to everybody else. Pam Zappardino. Hi, Zap. Ack. And Warren and Janelle. There we go. And now I can take this thumb pick off. That song sounds best with the thumb pick because it has that descending run at the end. So anyhow, it's announcement time. The Invisibles are not exclusively, but they include Judith Fox, Kit Serikaku, Linda Worster, Kate Mack, Joel Biget, Mario Prue, who built that other guitar, Bill Rubenstein, Mike Stillman, and David Harleyson. And any others who I do not acknowledge, I apologize. I try to say hi to everybody because I'm a very egalitarian kind of guy. And I just noticed John Hubner's here. Hi, John. And sometimes I miss. It's with the best of intentions. And I'll take a little drink of coffee here. So this next song I wrote when I was going through a really kind of tragic time in my life. A lot of you who have been around for the whole 3 years know about it, and I won't dwell on it here now. But it is a time in our lives when a lot of us are just falling. You know, the years are catching up with us and with our friends, and we're losing friends, and we're losing our health, and there's all kinds of bad shit going on, which we somehow managed to ignore the possibility of for the first 60 or 70 years of our lives. So this is a little song kind of about that. Now, doing that intro made me forget the first line. See, this is part of the thing about aging, is that you can't remember your own songs. Okay, I'm good now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Life can throw you some curves, and things don't always turn out right. Everybody has the blues sometimes, and nobody wins every fight. So if you're feeling gloomy about all that you have lost, just be glad that you had it when it's time to pay the cost. Just repeat after me. My life is not a tragedy. Now maybe you lost that love, or time took your loved ones away. Even if you're the last man standing, you too will fall one day. Well, I started as a baby, and I grew to be a man. If I end up as an old dog, I guess I'll understand. And when I look into the mirror, that old man will agree. My life is not a tragedy. I've been down so many pathways. You know, I've seen it all. And I'm not gonna get all low down just 'cause my back's against the wall. So if hard times descend on you and dark clouds are overhead, you better just hang on to living before they pronounce you dead. So if you find that you're suffering from a bad case of the blues, you gotta get up in the morning and adjust your attitude. Just repeat after me. My life is not a tragedy. My life is not a tragedy. My life can have some tragic moments. The way things are going, I don't remember them from one minute to the next, apparently. But my life is not a tragedy. So there you have it. That's my diatribe on that topic. And Après Midi is here over there on YouTube. And who else did I miss? Lori Payne, I said hi to. I think we're doing okay here. And I'll do the rest of the announcements. There is, as always, a PayPal link right there. And Venmo. Charlie the dog started in with his toys today. I wonder if I can get him. He might get up if I do this, but we'll try. You can see he's got 2 toys that he dragged over here, and he was going to be kind of trying to put them in my lap while I played the concert, but I put him in a downstay, and once he gets into his downstay, he gives up, which is really good. I'm really glad he does that, because it makes it easier for me to get through a concert with no trouble. So we're going to do this and this, and then we're going to check this, and that's a little too high, so we're going to bring it down a little. And that should be just about right. So then we're okay again. So I did the PayPal thing. Today's Wednesday. I'm on Thursday. I do not know who is on. If anybody knows, they can tell us right now. Friday, Slim, who had a rehearsal today, so he couldn't make it, is going to be on at 3:30 Eastern Time, I believe. And I think he said it's going to be silly songs or something like that. I wasn't exactly sure. And Bunny will, I believe, be doing her threefer at 4 o'clock on Friday. And I think she was at the dock yesterday in New York, and I think everything's going as well as can be expected. And they're just waiting for her voice to come back a little better when the swelling goes down more. So she's hanging in there. Speaking of Our Lives Are Not a Tragedy. And on Saturday morning at 11 o'clock Eastern Time, 10 Central, Dakota Dave Hull will be doing Guitar Day. And Warren Bendler, I believe, will be doing his 3 o'clock stream on Saturday afternoon. Warren, if I'm right about that. And Warren mentions that Helen Avakian and David Irwin are doing Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, I know Helen and David from Winfield. Helen is one of only 2 women who have ever won the fingerstyle competition at Winfield. Muriel Anderson is the other. And she's a lovely guitarist, very sweet person. Her husband, David, is a really fine guitar player, too. Really good jazz player. And they play as a duo, and they're a happy couple, and they make good music together, and both in the metaphoric sense, I guess, and in the literal sense. So check them out. When Helen won Winfield, she did it by playing a guitar arrangement of Rhapsody in Blue. It was pretty impressive. So Warren will not be live streaming this week because he's babysitting. So when is Little Miss Wiggles going to make her internet debut? Can't you get like a high chair and sit her next to you, and then you could play and she could howl along in response or something? Anyhow, those are all the announcements I have that I can think of. So I have one more tune for you, and let's see where we stand here. We're okay on time. So this is a little more historical for me, part of my personal history. Maybe a little more coffee. So I just want all of you all you Ohioans, I want to point out that I did have a Great Lakes Edmund Fitzgerald Stout for lunch today. I can prove it. I got out of Cleveland a long time ago, and there are parts of me that feel, I don't want to make any enemies here, that feel that Cleveland is a good place to be, as we say, to be from, if you know what I mean. But it actually has a great music scene. I don't think it was nearly this good when I lived there. So here it is. I love the cover art on this bottle. I don't know if you can see that. So it's Edmund Fitzgerald Stout. And that's a picture of the Edmund Fitzgerald, the famous shipwreck that Gordon Lightfoot sang about. And all through my working years as an acupuncturist and teaching Tai Chi, I usually 4 or 5 nights a week I had to work. So I couldn't really, even though one beer would not, really screw you up too badly, I couldn't really drink any alcohol during the day, which probably kept me from becoming an alcoholic. No, I was never going to be an alcoholic anyhow. And so, occasionally I'd have a beer on a weekend, or if I was on vacation, I might drink more. But But now I have like a day like today after I'm done with the concert. My life I'm free as a bird, just me and my little charge here, little Charlie, who will keep me busy for the evening in one way or another. And so I can get a beer in the middle of the day if I want. And then I have to have some coffee to wake back up after I take a beer. Charlie and I take a little nap. Then I make some coffee, and then I'm good for the rest of the day. But there was a time before I became a model citizen, as this song will mention, that I could, drink whenever I felt like it. And some, not that drinking is so great, but I could do anything I wanted whenever I felt like it. Because I was living my Hepcat days back then. Now I used to live a Hepcat life, had a lot of drama, a lot of strife, staying in some cheap abode. Rent comes due and you hit the road, catch a ride out of town, miss your baby, you feel so down. Call her number and you get some guy. Just shrug your shoulders and you go get high. Play the guitar till 3 a.m. Breakfast at noon, then you start again. Late nights at the diner with friends to see, for laughter and camaraderie. The sun went down, I was at my best. The sun came up, well that's when I'd rest. Now I get up with the dawn. I end up working all day long. I don't quite know why or when I became a model citizen. Life used to be messy in many ways, but boy, I sure miss those Hepcat days. I used to live a Hepcat life, had a lot of drama, a lot of strife. Life was messy in many ways, but boy, I sure miss those Hepcat days. So, thank you so much for joining me again. It's good to see you all here. And let me see if I'm missing anybody. Robin Gray coming in late on the comments, and Helene Tober Fowler, and all my other friends who I already said hi to, and David Irwin himself. So, yeah, go hear David and Helen, because they're the real deal. They're fine musicians. And Jim Greco is here, late, but here, and that's pretty common for Jim, who just had surgery on his thumb, so we're wishing him well. And like that. happy, be healthy, be brave, and be calm. Be kind, it's a snap. And if you get cranky, take a nap. So thank you all for joining me. I think I just saw the name of my favorite dog trainer in the world, Grisha Stewart. And thanks, Grisha. She is a genius of dog trainers and the most compassionate dog training individual I think I've ever run into. She's raised the bar for treating your dogs well, and she's also a singer-songwriter. Who knew? So thanks for showing up, Grisha. Thanks for sharing. And I will see you guys on Sunday at 10:30 if you stop by. Have a great rest of the week. I love you all. Bye-bye.